Hey everyone, Adrian Clarke here. Well, the thumbnail of this video asked the question, what did we learn from Arsenal's pretty exciting 3-2 win against Newcastle United in Singapore? And I think we should start with the most obvious thing that we learned from the game. And that is that Max Dowman, at the age of 15 years, is ready to be a Premier League star. I can't quite believe that I'm saying that. And I know that it's only pre-season, but up against some proper Premier League players, he not only looked at home in his 35-minute cameo off the bench, he pretty much destroyed them. He stood out as being one of the game's most exceptional performers. It was an absolutely electric second half display from Max Dowman. He was fouled within 10 seconds. He'd just been on the pitch. He gets the ball, he drops his shoulder, he takes the ball past, I think it was Joe Linton, and he gets clattered. And he wins a free kick there and then. And you just think, okay, he looks pretty sharp. And then just a few minutes later, he scampers down the middle of the pitch. I think it was a little pass from Odegaard and he's away. And he drives towards goal and he tests Nick Pope with a cracking left foot shot. It's a fantastic save, actually, from the Newcastle keeper. But what really struck me about the run was the speed. You know, I don't want to get too excited here, and I don't want to put him on a pedestal, Max Dowman. You know, that's unfair. But the way that he runs with the ball, the speed that he runs with the ball is nothing short of exceptional. And it makes him very, very difficult to stop. And Newcastle really had no answer to that. I think just a few minutes after he brings the save out of Pope, John Ruddy's on for Newcastle, the sub goalie. He cuts this hard and he curls one right. He's heading towards the top corner from Dowman. And it's a stunning save. It's an even better stop. But he wasn't done there. He creates the winning goal by earning the team a penalty. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, he's facing away from goal. He's towards the halfway line. He's got Matt Target, the left back, up his backside. He drops the shoulder, he turns him, and he goes. And again, this is what I'm talking about. The speed of the dribbling is exceptional. But what he doesn't do is just head down the line on the right wing. He drives in towards goal, which I think that's what all good wide forward players should do in those situations. He drives towards goal. Joe Linton's tracking him back, can't keep pace, catches him. It's a penalty, which Odegaard tucks away, and Arsenal win the game 3-2. And you just think, and I know the Premier League is different to a friendly, but you just think he's going to be an option for Mikel Arteta this season off the bench to impact things. And that's why I think he come on the hour before the raft of other young players entered the pitch. He came on early doors. So it shows you that Mikel Arteta sees him in a different light to the other young boys that have travelled with the team for this particular tour. So it's, it could not have been a better cameo performance from Max Dowman. And the question it raises now is, in my head anyway, is, well, who is Saka's understudy? We've seen Ranieri do it last season to good effect. Noni Madueke has arrived and everyone's expecting him to be the sort of backup to Saka. Well, might it just be Max Dowman? Look, we'll have to wait and see. But his two performances in Singapore have certainly showed that he looks ready to make an impact. What of Saka? Look, he was good. He got man of the match inside the stadium. Almost scored with a fantastic overhead kick, an acrobatic effort. It's really brilliant, actually. But he was a real threat throughout. He tormented whoever Newcastle's left back was. He made runs in beyond. He got the ball to feet and tried to make things happen. There wasn't as much of a link up with Ben White in this game. He sort of fed off longer passes, if anything. But yeah, it was another really strong performance from Bukayo Saka. So the two guys that basically played on the right wing in this game both excelled. Right, who else impressed then in this match? I think I'll start with the skipper, if I may, because Martin Odegaard was terrific. He looks sharp, really sharp. He looks lean. I mean, he always looks lean, but he just looks like he's maybe gained a yard of speed, to be honest. There's one moment just shortly after he came on where he nutmegged a player and then he drove up the pitch, but at pace, and he got beyond the halfway line and then sort of found a teammate. But yeah, he looked good. There was another A couple of driving runs down the middle, one beautiful through ball for Kai Havertz. He was flagged offside. It was a tight call, to be honest, but it was a fantastic idea for Martin Odegaard. And just like he did against AC Milan, he got himself into the box and he had a shot, and he had a shot on target. So I think Martin Odegaard can feel pretty pleased actually with the way that he's performing, the nick he's in ahead of the game against Spurs in Hong Kong. Kai Havertz also caught the eye, in my opinion. Victor Gyökeres, absolutely buzzing that he's a Gooner now. He was introduced to the crowd ahead of kickoff in Singapore. What a moment that was. And, you know, he's getting to know his new teammates. He's the star man. All the fanfare is around Victor Gyökeres, and I get it. But the question I had in my mind was, how's that going to impact Kai Havertz? Is his shirt, obviously, at the moment, as in the centre forward shirt? And, you know, would he be impacted by it negatively, or would he raise his game? Well, I thought he raised his game. I thought he was excellent in the match, Kai Havertz. Two big moments, huge moments, actually. The first was for our equaliser, where Trossard pings the ball into him. He's a fizzer. His first touch kills it stone dead, and then he just drops a shoulder, and there's a beautiful backflip, sort of back flick to the onrushing Marino. Perfect angle, perfect weight, and it allowed Marino to just stroke it into the bottom corner. So that was superb. And then just 2 minutes later, a piece of quick thinking from Kai Havertz. There's a foul on the wing. Trossard puts the ball down, and Havertz runs. He gives Trossard the opportunity to go and play him in down the left. And he backs himself with his left foot to just whip it across the face of goal. And it's going towards Saka at the far post. He got himself a tap in, but it's an own goal from the rookie teenager. I think it was Murphy was his name. Puts it into his own net. So two big moments from Kai Havertz in the game that caught the eye. Another one that I'm going to praise here is Leandro Trossard. I thought he was good. He outshone Martinelli in the first match, and it's probably the same here. He showed enterprise for both the goals actually, and just looked nice and bright. He went on a nice dribble as well down the left hand side at one point. So yeah, Trossard I think can hold his head up high, and I'm going to pick out Zubimendi again actually, because I felt that even though he didn't have as much of the ball, or he didn't make as many telling passes in this match, he was tested at a faster pace. This was a more physical match. It was more like a Premier League game. Newcastle were really robust, flying into challenges, by the way, for a pre-season friendly. It was rough, and that was great, I think, for Martin Zubimendi to just get a feel for it. It'll be quicker, it'll be stronger, it'll be tougher when it starts for real. But this gave him a little inkling of what it's all about, and I thought he handled it well. Like I say, his passing was less eye-catching, I would say. There was still some good passes, but less of them. But it was the way he broke up play. You know, he recovered possession numerous occasions, nips in front of players to win the ball, covers people, you know, whether it's to the side, whether it's pressing. You know, he will go pretty high up to win the ball. He doesn't sit back, Martin Zubimendi. So, yeah, I thought without the ball, he broke up play well. And there was one moment where I thought, yes, you will do for me, Martin Zubimendi. And it was Bruno Guimaraes. He's springing a breakaway, and Zubimendi just body checks him. He stands in his way and says, "Nah, you're not getting past." It's a tactical foul, proper tactical foul. Gets a yellow, and I thought, yes, he will fit in very nicely in Mikel Arteta's Arsenal side. So yeah, I think that those guys certainly impressed me. In terms of individuals, I would say there's some mixed performances as well. I'm going to pick David Raya, for example. Didn't have a lot to do, but when he was pressed a couple of times, there were some loose passes from him. He put a couple, or he gave one away and he put one out of play. I think maybe for Murphy's goal as well. He might feel that he could have done a little bit better getting across to cover the shot into the corner. So David Raya was a mixed performance. I'd probably say the same for Miles Lewis-Skelly. If I'm honest, he wasn't poor. He did some really nice things, but there were one or two loose passes in there. And for the opening goal, he was a little bit slow to react to Tonali's run. Tonali runs off a midfielder. We'll get to that shortly. And he just doesn't quite get close enough to him in time. And there were one or two moments where they had a little bit of joy down his side. So Miles Lewis-Skelly, not bad by any sense of the imagination, but I think there's a bit more sharpness to come for him. Ricardo Calafiori came off injured. I thought there was some really good bits from him. He pops up inside the box. He's played centre half, by the way, instead of Gabriel. Pops up inside the opposition box, rampage and run, cross it across the face of goal. Absolutely superb. There was another long diagonal to Bukayo Saka that was very, very impressive as well from him. But then there were one or two moments of rash defending where maybe he gets too tight and players can run beyond him. We saw that with Osula. He just got caught square and he wasn't expecting the run. And they played in Osula in behind him, and it was a little bit too easy. So look, we hope he's not badly injured, Calafiori, that it was just a precaution he came off. But yeah, mixed night for him. I'd also say slightly mixed for Marino. Fabulous goal. Absolutely superb finish from him. And he also put a beautiful cross in for Kai Havertz. But that was a header that he couldn't quite control. But I think without the ball, sometimes he struggled to get tight to the players. It was Tonali ran off him for the opening goal. And then as Tonali's cutting the ball back, he's getting back Marino. But could he have got back a little bit quicker to cut out the cross so that he didn't find Alanga inside the box? There was a 2v1 at the far post. There wasn't a lot White could do. Maybe White could have left Gordon and gone to Alanga. But for me, could Marino have worked harder to cut out that cutback? Maybe. And then for Murphy's goal, he's a little bit slow to react. He's got too much time and he doesn't get there. He doesn't close him down quite quickly enough, Mikel Marino, and Murphy fires it into the bottom corner. So yeah, it was a good performance in parts from Mikel Marino, but also, you know, he could have done a little bit better without the ball. But I would say that about most of the midfielders actually in this game. Without the ball, apart from Zubimendi, I think they were all better with the ball than they were maybe without the ball in midfield in this game. So that's something just to work on in the days and weeks to come before the season starts. And what else did we learn from a tactical point of view then? In terms of problems, I'd say that what Newcastle did was they had Anthony Elanga on the right wing, and he was basically given a free role, and he was able to just pop up centrally, or even on the left sometimes. And we didn't really get to grips with it. I don't think we saw it early enough. Wasn't maybe enough communication between the players. What you'd like to see there is one of the midfielders saying, right, when he comes in, I've got him, or you, one of the centre halves, you've got to keep your eye on him. Or maybe you pull Saka back and get Ben White to look after him. But we didn't really solve that problem. So that was a slight issue. And there were little holes that appeared between the defence and the midfield in the game, particularly in the first half. So that's a little piece of tactical play that we can iron out. What I would say from a positive point of view in terms of the tactics, wasn't really a game for fluid passing. I wouldn't say any of the combinations stood out especially. But what I did like was the pressing. Oh, yeah. I really, really liked the pressing. I thought we went man to man, you know, pretty much inside the opposition half. Very, very aggressive. Won the ball high up on numerous occasions, forced mistakes from them. You know, it didn't always come off. They played around us for the opening goal as it happened. That was really one of the few times that Newcastle managed to do that. And that's the risk you take when you go and press, particularly man to man. If they play around you, they're kind of in and at you, aren't they? And that's what happened. So, yeah, but overall, I would say that Mikel Arteta, in those conditions, which were not easy by any stretch of the imagination, I think that he would have been very impressed with the attitude of his players. I thought that they took to the task brilliantly. Late on in the game, it sort of all petered out a little bit once Arsenal got the winning goal and we got the job done. So look, results don't matter at all, really, do they? But I did think that even though this was a tougher game and there were mistakes in there, this was a really, really useful run out for Arsenal. Got those tough games, of course, at the start of the season. And we need to tune up with fast-paced, aggressive games. We have to. Okay, we might all, you know, look through our hands sometimes and think, you know, the players are getting injured or there's a few too many fouls. But I do think that fixtures like this Newcastle one will help get us up to speed a little bit better than if we were to just play teams where it was slow pace and a little bit laborious. So look, yeah, Arsenal 3, Newcastle 2. Max Dowman, absolutely the star of the show. yeah, roll on Hong Kong and a North London derby against Tottenham Hotspur. I'm working on that one. I'm co-commentating for Arsenal, so make sure you check out that game and our coverage. And no doubt I'll be back afterwards to analyse the match. Bye for now.